In the early 15th century, Chinese merchants started sailing across great oceans to the Malay Archipelago and beyond in search of trade opportunities. These Chinese ships were filled with large quantities of tea, silks and porcelains. Eventually, some of these merchants settled in the region and intermarried with the local women. Their descendants are known as the Peranakans. The term Peranakan is used to describe a local born. The men are known as Baba and the women are known as Nyonya. However, the Peranakans also love to recount the romantic tale between the Chinese princess Hangli Po of the Ming dynasty and Sultan Mansur Shah of Malacca as the setting for their presence in the region. The Peranakan culture in itself is a hybrid of the Chinese and local cultures, layered with Portuguese, Dutch and later English influences due to colonization. These influences are reflected in the homes and lifestyles of the Peranakans. Let's take a walk into the Peranakan world. A typical Peranakan house is eclectic in style, harmoniously combining all the different influences into a style of its own. Most of the Peranakan homes are in Dutch-built shop houses. These buildings are quite narrow due to the Dutch collecting taxes based on the width of the house. There are usually 2 floors. On the first floor, there's a reception hall, ancestral hall, dining hall, courtyard and kitchen. And on the second floor are the bedrooms and wedding chamber.
I learned how to ride bicycle in the house because the house is long. Right? When I tell people I learned how to ride bicycle in the house, they say, "Hey, you crazy? You ride bicycle in the house?" I say, "Yes, but the house is long."
The Peranakans, despite having adapted to the local lifestyle, have still retained many of its Chinese culture and traditions. Their houses are decorated with lots of Chinese influences, like lanterns, wooden furniture with marble and mother-of-pearl inlays, religious statues and porcelains. The Peranakans also added European elements to their houses, like Dutch tiles, Scottish cast-iron handrails, Victorian éperons and lamps. Some of the furniture in the house are also of European influence, like the dressing table and dining table set. The wedding chamber is the most elaborately decorated part of the house. It is filled with carved furniture lacquered in auspicious red and gilded in gold. The bed is also covered in silk, embroidered with Chinese auspicious symbols like birds, peonies and butterflies.
Marriage was not about romance or falling in love. It was a duty. It was a dutiful obligation to this person that your parents have brought to be your wife. And you have this dutiful obligation to her or him for the rest of your life. If there are young girls in a home, they are not allowed to meet with men or to be seen by men too much. So that's why the trellis, the lattice screening to hide them. So when visitors come, you as a proper Nyonya will not be sitting down and listening, to conversations. You have to disappear. So you go behind, so people don't see you. So how do they get married if they don't meet guys? You are matchmade. So, and it's mother and father who decides, or even grandmother who decides. So how do they go about it? There is then the matchmaker, and when your daughter is of age, then you will probably send for the matchmaker, or your son is of age. But there's one practice that Nonyas do, and it's Chap Gourmet. On the 15th night of the new year, they bring their daughters up to throw oranges, and hopefully some guys from some good families will notice their daughters and then ask for the hand in marriage.
The traditional Peranakan wedding is a grand affair that takes a long time to prepare and lasts for 12 days. Wealthy Peranakan families would even hire a personal goldsmith to make customized jewellery for them. The traditional wedding attires of the Peranakans are very Chinese in style, heavily embroidered with gold and silver threads. Embroidery motifs include the dragon and phoenix, which symbolizes that the couple complement each other. Other common symbols include the golden lotus, which signifies purity and innocence, and the Japanese lily, which symbolizes 10,000 years of harmony and union.
Nyonyas like pretty things. Right? We love pretty things. As long as it's of aesthetic value, we will adopt it. We bring in our Chinese religion. We are dressed in Chinese traditional wedding clothes. Most of our culture is very Chinese, except for the clothes we wear. As you can see, we wear a sarong, and the sarong is very Malay. But Nyonyas also wear Western clothes, you know. We will wear Western clothes, and sometimes if we are in the mood, we can even wear a sari. Even our jewellery, we don't mind if it's Indian influence, as long as it makes us pretty, we are happy to adopt it.
The Nyonyas would usually wear the kebaya, which consists of an embroidered blouse and a batik sarong. The blouse has no buttons and is fastened together with a set of 3 brooches made of gold or silver and embellished with gemstones. The babas, on the other hand, would wear a long-sleeved mandarin jacket and a pair of trousers. During the British colonisation, the babas started to favour the Western style of dressing and began wearing suits. When the babas are busy doing business outside, the Nyonyas stay at home to do household chores. They would help out in the kitchen and prepare meals for the day. Peranakan food basically combines Chinese cooking techniques with locally found ingredients. Some of these ingredients include coconut milk, belachan, galangal, tamarind, lemongrass, chillies and pandan leaves.
For starters, we have the loba, which is meat roll, like a sausage. And then, of course, spice with the 5 spices and chukor and chestnuts. So, while it's meat, once in a while you get a crunch of the chestnut. And then we have the finely diced vegetable, which is normal. We serve that for weddings and for Chinese New Year. And the prawn, that prawn is black, but it's not black sauce, you know. It's tamarind. And when tamarind is deep fried, then it becomes black like this. So it was seasoned with tamarind and pepper for a long time. And nasi ulam is again all the herbs and spices. And this one is actually also used for when after a woman gives birth, delivers, during the confinement, the 30 days of confinement, we will serve her that because it's supposed to expel all the wind in your body.
The Nyonyas spend a great deal of time making the beaded shoes that they wear with their kebayas.
In Castlemanet, of course, there was this embroidered slippers using silken threads. And before they did satin stitch, in fact, the early stitches were the forbidden knots. That means they actually, the pattern of a flower, a rose, is made up of multiple little knots. So the middle is darker shade, right? So dark red knots, and then goes up to lighter pinks and all that. And these are made of knots. And then later they had silken, which is like satin stitches. And then they discovered the gold and silver threads. With some specific patterns, they were used for wedding slippers. And then of course then came the Castlemanet.
During their leisure time, the Nyonyas also love to play chirky and dance.
I wasn't interested in the Peranakan culture until I reached the age of 50. One thing I regretted. I regret very much that I never learned from my mother. She is a very, very good cook, and I never learned from her. And that is my one regret, that I never learned to cook like my mother did.
I have a friend who grew up in KL, and he is almost 40 now, and he was not aware of his Peranakan heritage until the day of his wedding. A Peranakan who grew up in a modern setting, where you were not being exposed to this culture and you were not even being told. So that is why the Peranakan identity would cease to exist, because there's no knowledge or there's not even awareness in your own identity.
So when I reached 50, I suppose you realize suddenly, sort of like midlife crisis. We suddenly realize, oh, what are my roots? And that's when I started, getting more kebayas, buying sarongs, getting interested in what the Peranakan culture is like.
The Peranakan culture is now slowly fading away due to globalization and modernization. Many customs and traditions are not passed down and are therefore forgotten. This is not specific to the Peranakan culture, but all cultures around the world, as the younger generations are not interested in the traditional culture and are embracing the modern and fast-paced world. There is an old Chinese saying about fallen leaves returning to the roots. No matter where life takes you, don't forget where you came from.